Not sure if you can hear me, but welcome. This is something a little new that I'm doing, so I just wanted to try it out and see how it goes. And you all, today I wanted to talk about the fear of overcoming being seen. And I have notes, so if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my notes so that I stay on track. And then you all can see my full bedroom. So pay my bedroom no mind. But I wanted to come up here like no makeup, hair not done or anything like that because this is as much as help me as I hope that it will be for someone else because I have had such a issue with being seen and being uncomfortable with people seeing all of me. I've been working since I was 15 years old and you know, when you start working at such a young age and then you also have a bit of some childhood trauma, sometimes you're molded into looking and fitting in a certain way. And so it took me the longest time to find my voice, to even find who I was and what I liked and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to become. Like I'm just now realizing that I want to become a content creator. And part of being a content creator is being seen. You have to show yourself if you really want to connect with others. And so that has been like a huge fear I have had because I have struggled with, am I good enough? Am I enough um, to help somebody else or for someone to be influenced by? And so again, if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. So that's what it is. So that I don't get off track because I have a tendency to, get off track sometimes. So I want to stay focused on what this is about. And I just wanted to start with like who I am as a person. I absolutely love God and I love sharing about God. However, I have always struggled with being myself. Hi, Beauty for Ashes. I have always struggled with being myself because I'm not what I would consider a typical Christian. And I've never seen uh, a Christian like myself out openly who was not criticized. And what I mean by that is, I love me a good hood jam. Okay. Like with my playlist, 1 minute I'm listening to Kirk Franklin and, Mary Mary. And then the next minute I'm listening to Young Dolph. Or I might even switch it up and go to like neo soul with India Ari and Anthony Hamilton or jazz. So like I like a range of things. And with Christianity, a lot of times people say that like you can only listen to gospel or you can only listen to music that uplifts God. And I don't think that's true for everybody. If you struggle with music and the messages that is in music, then I do think that yes, it could lead to you being, taken astray from God. But if that's not an idol for you, or if that is not something that causes any tension in between your relationship with God, I don't believe that God has a problem with us listening to secular music. But that again, that's just my belief. And then I'm also someone who loves the smell of sage and Palo Santo. And a lot of times people are like, oh, that's against God. That's not God. And again, I don't look at those things as if the power comes from them. Like I'm not carrying around the sage, thinking that it's the power of the sage itself that is warding off bad spirits or what have you. I believe that God has given us earthly tools, just like the Bible is a tool. I feel like crystals may be a tool for somebody. Tarot cards might be a tool for somebody. Sage may be a tool from somebody. And it's not to idolize those things or think that the power and the protection is coming from those items because at the end of the day, they are man made, they are just items. But I do believe that God does back the power. So if you believe that God is allowing you to ward off spirits with your your sage, that power is coming from God, just like a sword of a gun. The power itself is not in the sword or in the gun, it's the person behind the sword or the gun. So that's just like some of the things that like I struggle with, like in my I don't know if that's making sense, but like sometimes it's just hard for me to really feel like I'm able to be myself because I don't want people to judge me. I don't want anybody to put their own beliefs onto me. I don't want anybody to say that my relationship with God is inauthentic because it looks a little differently than theirs. I feel like God has his own relationship with each and every one of us, just like you may have a different relationship with a family member and another family member has a totally different relationship with that same person. I feel like it's the same with God. I feel like God does not have a cookie cutter relationship with all of us. We're all unique, we're all beautiful. And, I think he allows us to handle different things, just like not everybody struggles with alcohol. I'm not someone who drinks alcohol, but if that is that if that's what somebody else does, then that's their business. I'm not in a place of judgment. I'm not in a place of condemning. So, I just have struggled with, Lord, how much of myself I show, and with the parts that I do show, am I being authentic? Because, at the end of the day, I want people to get to know me and not an image that I have created or, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And that's just at the end of the day what I want people to know about me and walk away knowing about me. That I'm not perfect. I'm trying to get it right each and every day as well. There are still moments of doubt that I struggle with, and I just want to be used by God. So a lot of times what God puts on me is that he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. And what he means when he says, come as you are, is just that, come as you are. You do not have to be a certain way or look a certain way to have a relationship with God. God just wants a relationship with us, and then he will do the pruning and the changing of the heart and the outward appearance as a result of that relationship. But you first got to start it with him. And so I grew up in the church, and I think that's where a lot of this fear comes from, is because growing up in church, I remember we had and this was before homosexuality was as open as it is today, but we had a choir director who was, I believe he was gay. He just, it seemed that way. And I remember even as a child, like people would always just talk about him and be like, oh, I can't believe Pastor got him up here, direct choir, that and the third. And it was very judgmental. And yes, I know what the Bible says, but I do feel like before we start pointing out each other's sins, we should first love each other. And what I saw growing up in church, it wasn't loving. It was more so judgmental, because how can you say, come as you are and everybody is welcome? But then when that person who may not look like a Christian or what you think a Christian should look like enters the door, you start tearing them apart and picking them apart. How is that loving? How is that God-like? How is that even creating a space for them to want to remain where they can develop that relationship with God? And if God sees fit for their life, change them. So it's just like little things like that. And then even a little further in my life, when I was in my 20s, I joined a church in Vegas. And in that church, the youth pastor ended up catfishing me for 3 years. Like I didn't find out until 3 years later that this person that I was talking to online was actually the youth pastor. And so when I shared with some of the members in the church, because like I just didn't know how to take it, like how do you take that? So when I shared with some of the church members, they attributed to my outward appearance. They said, well, it probably wouldn't have happened if you didn't dress the way that you dress. And it's not that I was dressing any old type of way or crazy or anything like that. It's just, I have a rather large backside. And no matter what you put on, unless you're like in this super oversized baggy clothes, you can see my body, but I was never in anything skin tight. But that's not even the point. The point is, they tried to make it seem as if I got catfished because of what I was doing. And so it's just really hard when you are seeking a relationship with God and you're trying to live for God, and people discount or discourage your relationship with God because you do not act like a typical Christian, or you don't look like a typical Christian. And I honestly don't think that Christians have a certain look. I think we have a vibe, we have a feeling. I feel like you can usually tell who God has a hand on their life by how they speak, how they act, how they love, not necessarily how they look, because you can be all dialed up to the nines and drive the fanciest car and wear the fanciest clothes, but you could have the worst spirit possible. So I don't think it goes by how necessarily a person looks. I think it's more so the vibe that they give off, the energy that they give, and the love that they give. So I just wanted to share all of this because I do know that, my follower count is growing, and I don't want anybody to feel bamboozled, or I don't want anybody to feel as if, they joined or got behind somebody who wasn't what they seemed or who they were. So I just wanted to share, like, this is me. I love God. I love being a Christian. I love being in the word, but I still, as well, do listen to secular music. I still do wear makeup from time to time. I still, sage my house from time to time. But I don't think that takes away from who I am, or, what I am. So I just wanted this to be an encouragement as well as a get to know me. So if you are someone who struggles with being seen, and you love the Lord, and you just, you're having a problem with people seeing you, or you don't want people to see you, what God always tells me is it's not about what anybody else thinks or says, it's about what He says. And to Him, we are wonderfully and fearfully made. So always remember that, always keep that in your mind. God is not calling you to be perfect, He is calling you to put Him first and trust in Him and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Everything else after that will fall into place. So I just wanted to share that. And I hope that is encouraging for someone. And you all, I so apologize for last week where I kind of fell off with my consistency. I was just so tired, but it's a whole new week. So on Tuesday, we will have another video put out, and I will be putting out how much I have made so far with my YouTube journey. So I hope you all will join me for that one. And then on Thursday, I will put out another single mom vlog just to show you all with the behind the scenes. But if there's anything that you ever want to see or anything that you want to know, please do reach out to me. I would love to hear it. I would love to help. And if you have any encouraging words for me as well, I always appreciate them. So thank you so much. I hope you all have the most amazing day. And thank you for allowing me to be myself. I really do appreciate it. You all take care.